belladonna. You eat these angel trumpets and you trip yourself to death. Literally, you die. You trip and die. Not much of the self that you will remember will be left. There will be something else that's more the actual self than those concepts. So that stuff will take you to a very dark place and let you stay there for a while. And then you'll come back with a perspective of life that's completely unlike the one you have now. Guatemala is pretty crazy. Well, that's the end of this video. Nothing needed to be said. Fuck off. Beep. We go through the bottom beds. Again. These are coming up beautifully. Spreading everywhere. Red climber beans. Nitrogen fixers. Some creek. Here's the food forest. Lots of pits, holes, muddy ground. Sweet potatoes. Pigeon pea everywhere. And that is the primary legume bush for nitrogen fixing. Right now the ground cover is sweet potato. It's going to be changed to possibly chickpea. And comfrey. Here's the comfrey. And real nice. Sorrel is growing in some places as well. French and Spanish sorrel. These are the clovers. Lemon clove. They're growing everywhere. So they'll be good for the soil as well. Spreading out. Banana trees. There's lemongrass. Yeah. It's a weeding legume tree. That'll be weeded out. Killing it will cause more nitrogen in the soil. More sweet potato, wildflowers down through there. And here are the cabins. A weed legume, chop and drop. Terraces, planted with citrus already. All the way down, all the way down. All the way down there. And of course using that sprinkler to water this side. Here, there's going to be cabins built for the yoga to oversee this beautiful mountainside on the other side of us. Here's where all the earth has been moved. It's all dead crap earth and bamboo poking out and trees that are good for nothing but building material. So leguminous foresting heavily through this side here, and the grasses at the bottom will be removed also, and heavy legume grown through here to rebuild the soil, and then foresting through it as well. Over here is another person's land. We're probably going to end up buying it though, and that way we can forest it as well. As you may be able to see on this ridge down, that it's very greeny on the things that are there. It's a good slope, and we're going to be feeding this top up here. Lots of things all the way up there, all that stuff. It's going to be feeding down all up there. High canopy, going down into the hills, feeding the sweet potato, wildflowers, comfrey, and the soon-to-be mass vegetation going on throughout this whole thing. Growing a mass amount of things just everywhere. Here are the soil layers. We'll take a look at these. Very useful. Here's where your plants are going to be. This is a weed. It's a nitrogen fixer though. It's a pioneering weed fighting its way in. So we're going to work with these, let them grow until we don't need them, pull them all out, plant throughout this whole thing, legume it up, and irrigate the whole thing with a swell at the top. There's a trail that goes up there to where the cabins will be built. Swell will be dug, filled with water, and the water table will grow down here. Here's the nutrients. Apparently you can see the nutrient layer all up here. It's where the roots are all at. You come down here, not so nutrient rich. Down here, heavy mineral, heavy mineral, but not a lot of the nitrogens and other things that darken the soil up. There's not a lot of oxygen that made it down here, so you can't have microbials. So you can see as it's darkening up, more air. This is all rock. This is all alive, and then it gets up here to this nice, beautiful, clumpy stuff here. This is a culture of positive microbials in the soil to hold it together, even when it's dry. They'll dormant for a little bit. This mineral layer, which usually shows up as different colorations, it's like right here, different colorations in it. We want things to be pulled up. And deep rooters pull these up, and water table as well. Down here's a water table. You can see it here. This is wet. Deep rooters will come in, grow in, pull this higher up. Mediums will start to pull these even higher up. Top layer will hold it there along with the nutrients that are there as well. All around. Chop and drop legume weed tree. Works very good for the chopping dropping. Up here, this is the forest. This is the food forest that's being built. There's lots of the already existent pioneering weed species. This is a Guatemalan sweet potato that's growing up here. Love to see much more of this and less of that. It's an invasive dig. This, not so evasive. Yeah, it still does the properties of nitrogen fixing and fertilizing the soil very well. This one is a flower that is edible. Wildflower here. We want the diversity of wildflowers as much as possible. Wildflowers growing there. More comfrey. Chop and drop with some cilantro, is it? No, that's a wildflower. Wildflower. There's the flower on this. This can be eaten. This beautiful little bug on the end of it there. Let's see him. And he's there. More flowers and sweet potatoes, lemongrass. They're clumpers. They're for the clumping layer. They hold soil very well. It's a good seasoning for a lot of foods. You can also use it as a building material if necessary, with a comfrey right next to it. Coffee plants, deep rooters, they bring nutrients up. Good bush plant. Need more chickpea and pigeon pea planted through this area. And the ground cover here, I had to look more into ground covers, different ones that would be good for it. Cowpea seems like a very good ground cover. Animal forage, good ground cover. There's more terracing going on up there behind that sprinkler. And that's going to work its way down here through these. So, chicories, more wildflowers, and legumes. And then this is a species we have to kill out. So, chicory here. Wildflowers, heavy diversity, and a leguming weed tree. It's not a food, so we just chop that off, and then you drop it back down, feed everything else off. The nitrogen producing enzymes that are in the root system already in clusters will fall off. There's no longer starches being fed to that corresponding root system. So they're going to fall off and go look for other plants to grow on. And they'll cause explosive growth, fertilization, so known as green manure. And this is water stick. Those are water sticks. You just cut them, stick them in the ground, water them, and they grow very well, very quickly. They tie together. You can build a terrace system out of that. That's something that helps hold up the terraces up there. Some terracing going on, planting through it. It's going to be fruit forested. This needs a good cover on it. I'm going to build as much and as strong a cover over this whole thing as possible.